All right, y'all. We got a breaking news exclusive. We got a story about 50 Cent and Ja Rule that you probably never heard, an altercation that you probably never heard about. We're going to talk about it today. Since the passing of Irv Gotti, his brother Chris Gotti has done a few interviews, and 50 Cent's former top goon has taken issue with it, y'all. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. You already know who I am, Mikey T, the movie star. Appreciate everybody for tapping in, hitting the like button, dropping a comment. You know what I'm saying? Anything to keep us with some momentum in the algorithm so we can continue spreading this word. But today we're going to talk about something that y'all might have never heard because I never heard about it. I never heard about the gym altercation, the altercation in the gym, at the basketball court, 50 Cent and Em Smurf allegedly getting run out the gym. 50 allegedly getting chased out the gym with Em Smurf. That's just something that, you really wouldn't believe. I mean, 50 getting chased out the gym with his top hitter. I just don't think that's something you would believe. But we're going to get into the whole story today because Bangum Smurf jumped back on YouTube to explain this thing, you guys. That's right. Bangum Smurf has his own YouTube media page now. Y'all can go check that out. Tap in with my guy Smurf. We're not on the best of terms right now, but in all honesty, he had me out to Trinidad twice. I paid to go both times. You know what I'm saying? It's not like he flew me out to Trinidad. Let's not misconstrue the situation. You know what I'm saying? Although he did put me in a good position to meet Fredro Starr. You know what I mean? But this is kind of like when Fredro Starr was saying Onyx stomped out the G Unit guys, and Tony Yayo came back and said, "How did you stomp me out when I was in jail?" You're mixing up the time frame. And this is where Bangum Smurf is going to call out Irv Gotti's brother, Chris, because he's saying he's messing up the time frame of the 50 Cent and the G Unit beef. First of all, the 50 Cent and the Ja Rule beef. It wasn't a Ja Rule and G Unit beef at first, because before G Unit even existed, 50 Cent was dissing Ja Rule. So Smurf said, I see people still got my name in their mouth. Pause. I want to address this Chris Gotti situation, talking about he ran me and 50 out the gym and he clotheslined 50. This guy's talking about he ran up on Fifth and hit him with the clothesline. Damn. You clotheslined 50 Cent. 50 might have to address this on the gram if Chris Gotti is running around saying he clotheslined him and ran him and his top shooter out the gym. We'll get the Smurf's reaction because he's pulling Chris's card on a number of scenarios here. Smurf went on to say, "You said that was around the mixtape time. 50 came out in 98, and that's when we started dissing y'all with the Life's on the Line record. That was in 98. 50 Cent had released a music video that started out kind of like the Blair Witch Project in a way, where it said like this video footage had been found, and then it was like a whole video 50 shot where these detectives were following him. Smurf was actually in the video. He told me about it. I could never slow down the video to the point where I actually saw Smurf in it, but I've seen the Life's on the Line video. Murda, we don't believe you. Murda, I don't believe you. They were dissing Ja Rule since 98, 99 when that video dropped. And this is because of the alleged music video shoot that the alleged altercation that Ja Rule and 50 Cent had at the video Murder for Life, I believe it was, that Ja Rule shot in Queens, the one that Memphis Bleak was not in, if I'm not mistaken. And this was all around the time of Ja Rule's Vini Vidi Vici album that dropped in 1999, which is why I say that Life's on the Line video could have dropped in 99. I think it came after Ja Rule would not dap up 50 Cent. Then 50 Cent started screaming, murder, I don't believe you, murder, F around and leave. You know what I mean? Your life's on the line. This track that eventually ended up on the Get Rich or Die Trying album. You know, they added it, NYPD, LAPD, what was that one called? And then they put Life's on the Line, both on the Get Rich or Die Trying album. And then they actually put the I Smell, Is That You? Ja, they put that on the Beg for Mercy album bonus cut as well. So 50 all in 2003 was bleeding over his street beef with Ja Rule onto the mainstream, you know, but he would only do that really once. Things changed up on the next albums. He kind of left those guys in the dust outside of Piggy Bank. Somebody let me know if I'm wrong, though. That's just what I saw. So let's get into this, because Smurf had issues with Chris Gotti's timeline and also the fact that 50 apparently doesn't even play ball. Smurf said we wouldn't even have been playing ball with them. It would have been man down on site. The whole story is cap. How you was playing ball with us and you clotheslined 50. I ran over, that's all cap. We never played ball with you. 50 wouldn't even play ball. 50 wouldn't even play ball. So unless Smurf is lying, you know what I mean? 50's right-hand man, alleged right-hand man, I always thought that was Tony Yayo. You know what I mean? I've done some deep diving, some deep research, you heard, to find out how close the relationship was of 50 and Em Smurf. I can't find too much outside of Smurf being a hype man wearing a bulletproof vest. You know what I'm saying? But Smurf was my guy. I went down to Trinidad, did a bunch of vlogs with him. We took over World Star, you know what I'm saying? But I have issues with some things, you know what I mean? As far as how much of a relationship he says he had with 50 Cent. You know, I question a few things, you know what I mean? I'm just going to be real. Smurf went on. He said, I don't even like Boy right now. So I ain't feeling 50. So there ain't no reason for me to make excuses for nobody. You made a whole story up. You're losing your mind. You're losing your mind to be sitting on 4 different platforms and make up a story and believe his story. Chris Gotti, you never met me. So Smurf is telling Chris Gotti, we never even actually met each other. You never met me. We never played ball. That's why I wasn't saying nothing. And then he mentioned DJ Clue's name. Smurf went on to say DJ Clue is probably laughing at you because he never played ball with him or me. So I guess Smurf was saying here that DJ Clue never played basketball with 50 Cent either. I mean, that right there, I kind of question it. You know what I mean? Because I'm like, Smurf, you weren't around 50 Cent 24/7, bruh. Like, come on. Like, let's be real about this. Now, Smurf had told me DJ Clue offered 50 Cent a deal. He told me DJ Clue offered 50 a deal trying to beat out Eminem and Dr. Dre's deal, putting an extra $50,000 on top of it, on top of the $1 million. I never heard DJ Clue talk about that. Who knows? Maybe Esso and Heineken can ask him about that since they be doing the bag fuel thing. You know what I'm saying? I think that's a really interesting topic that DJ Clue could speak on if he actually was going to be one of the person that was in line to sign 50 Cent. I know Smurf told me a lot of other people tried to sign him, like Clive Davis, excuse me. Owens, the actor. But yeah, so Smurf told me a lot about the meetings that they took and the money that they were offered. 750,000, 50 apparently turned down. But I mean, ultimately going with Eminem and Dr. Dre, it's been valuable. You know what I mean? Because of the production and because of the basically the name and the brand that Eminem created with the fan base, selling over 1 million copies in the first week. Dr. Dre having the pretty much the best production in hip hop history. You could not go wrong going with him, even though Clue had it on Smash. You know what I mean? Clue was rocking with Fab. You know what I mean? Desert Storm. It was Stack Bundles over there. You know what I mean? So Clue obviously has his ear to the streets. And even now that Esso and Heineken are buzzing, Clue's rocking with them, showing them the proper respect, taking their whole thing to the whole next level, man. So I got a lot of respect for Clue, what he's done over the years. I bought a lot of Clue's albums. So I'm not even gonna get into that, man. You know how you would blow through CDs back in the day. Smurf said, "We don't play those games, especially that time of my life. My gun was going off. We was letting them things go off anywhere. Gym, park. That's why that's Cap. He never played ball with us. He don't know me, and 50 doesn't even play ball." So Smurf basically talking about the wild lifestyle he lived back in the day when 50 Cent sent him home. He obviously didn't change, and broad daylight shooting is what resulted in his eventual deportation. So that shit ain't really nothing to brag about. Smurf had an opportunity with the biggest record label at that time, a record label that was being presented by the guy who put Death Row on, the guy who put Ruthless Records on in reality. G Unit was the next big thing. And 50 Cent basically that kind of got ruined with all the inner turmoil in the group. And Dr. Dre just stepped back like, wow, again? Easy E cutting me and Ice Cube off, Death Row, Suge Knight beefing with everybody, and now 50 Cent in the game, basically destroying the dynasty that we could have. So Smurf ruined a major opportunity with that by not being more practical. You know what I mean? Not being more practical, not having a more firm grip on his business, signing away his company for $10,000 rather than reading the fine print of the paperwork. You know what I mean? Hiring your own lawyers. You know what I'm saying? Just doing everything that 50 Cent tells these guys to do. So Smurf said, and why I really addressed this shit is because it looks like I reached out to you and you hollered at me. I don't even know you. So that's an interesting point because I always asked Smurf back in the day, I was like, why didn't y'all ever sign with Murder Inc.? Like when you and Damo were buzzing, why didn't you ever sign with Murder Inc. back then? Like, was there ever a potential, a discussion? And the thing about it was Smurf always wanted to, I guess, own his own thing. He wanted to be his own boss. And that's why the whole relationship with Koch eventually came about. Koch didn't want him at first. Damo and Smurf went back in, put in that groundwork, and Koch came back calling. You know what I mean? Koch came back calling, gave him a deal. Smurf got deported. The deal got screwed up. If Irv Gotti was in the picture with Murder Inc., it would have been a much better outcome for SBG. They wouldn't have been in a position where Smurf was on the streets, basically getting into street conflict. Smurf would have been in a studio working and developing, which is what 50 Cent wanted to do for him in the first place. 50 Cent said it in his book. Smurf brought me a lot of artists. I didn't really like those artists, but 50 messed with Smurf's grind. Smurf had a dope artist from the streets and domination, and he also had a younger artist, kind of the little Bow Wow, little Romeo style. You know what I mean? He had another artist that was bar heavy. I think his name was Big Swing. You know what I'm saying? So Smurf was trying to go at it from a lot of different ways. And hell, 50 even showed up to Domination's video shoot for You'll Lose. They threw water bottles at him, screaming at 50. He left. But honestly, that day, I feel like 50 was going there to be in Domination's video. And if that had happened, Domination would have been the biggest rapper in the streets of New York. Let's be real. So Smurf is saying he doesn't know Chris Gotti. I'm just going to put it out there. I mean, it could have been another goon that was with 50 that day when 50 allegedly got clotheslined. Fifth can address that because I'm pretty sure somebody would remember being clotheslined. That shit sucks. It could have been another one of 50's not G Unit, because it wasn't G Unit back in the day, technically. 50 was dissing the hell out of Ja Rule before G Unit. You know what I'm saying? It could have been somebody else, and Smurf doesn't even know about the encounter, and people confuse it with Smurf. I asked people many times if they seen Smurf with 50, and I don't know if Smurf was there. I don't know if Smurf was there. Yeah, Smurf was there. You get different answers. And then Smurf, basically, like I said, Smurf's got his own YouTube channel, Em Smurf Media. He said, yo, Clue. Smurf called out Clue. Yo, Clue, you better check this shit and come check your boy. Sit your dude down, talk to him, because he's making up some wild stories. So this could go either way. Clue could come online and he could say, yo, Em Smurf, you're bugging. And by the way, this gives Clue two different things to talk about. The deal that he allegedly offered 50, and also he could actually talk about this whole situation. If he ever played ball with 50 back in the day, if he ever witnessed an altercation with Murder Inc. back in the day. Because Smurf is saying, yo, Clue, you better come check this. Come check your boy, Clue. Sit your dude down. Talk to him, because he's making up wild stories. So I'm looking forward to see if DJ Clue actually responds to this and sets the record straight and be like, yo, Smurf, you're not around 50 every waking moment of the day. Or if he says, yo, Smurf is right. Or if he says, yo, I have played ball with 50 on multiple occasions. Any response could come for this. I look forward to seeing what happens, though. But Smurf ended it by saying, if you want to break down the whole mixtape situation, we was already on go, and the drama with y'all was already up. Shit was already lit. You're not making no sense. Yeah, the drama with 50 and Ja didn't start after the creation of G Unit. The drama with 50 and Ja popped off, and then 50 started feeling the heat from Murder Inc. and the Supreme Team. 50 ain't have no team around him like that. And then G Unit was created. So, y'all, hit that like button. Hit that like button, y'all. Drop a comment. Let me know what y'all thought of this video. I never heard about this altercation in the gym. I heard about the altercation in Atlanta when 50 was going to be opening for Ja Rule, as crazy as that sounds. 50 was on the same show poster as Ja Rule back in the day. Ja Rule must have looked at him and been like, yo, this is going to be my time where I'm going to be with all my top guys, all my goons, all the people who want to beat somebody's ass for me, pretty much. You know what I'm saying? And I'm going to catch 50 here. And the other altercation was at the Hit Factory. I guess in that altercation in Atlanta, it didn't work out for Ja. 50 apparently, I might drop my video about this, about 50's chain. 50 took Ja Rule's chain, and then it made its way through the hood. Everybody was wearing it. Shout out to my brother Continental 5. I might have to do a little re-release on that joint right there, because Ja Rule's chain apparently was making more rounds than Young Berg's chain back in the day. So that's what happened. And 50 allegedly blacked Ja Rule's eye. So Ja Rule had to wear shades during the performance. So that's why the altercation at the Hit Factory ended up happening. And Ja Rule wanted his get back. He wanted his revenge, which ultimately led to 50 Cent leaving the studio. Uncasa told me he witnessed this actually too. Shout out to my brother Uncasa. Go subscribe to his YouTube channel. He has some of the dopest hip hop stories. But Benzino also told me about this as well. When I interviewed Benzino back in Miami, he told me 50 ran down to his studio. They had the source. They had a vehicle service at that time, car service. 50 Cent, not even like, you know what I mean? 50 Cent got car service from the source, which pretty much got him out of that whole situation with Murder Inc. And Benzino's explained that he wasn't even cool with Ja Rule at that time, or else he probably would have been like, get out of here. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I got a lot to talk about, man. I know all the stories because I lived through it, you guys. Hit that like button, and I'll see y'all on the next episode. Peace.